My name is Pooja P from the International Service for Human Rights. The first time I came to Geneva to participate at the Human Rights Council, I was working for a regional human rights NGO called the Asian Forum for Human Rights and Development. And it was the March session of 2010. And I was here working with a group of human rights defenders from Burma and from Sri Lanka to engage with the Council to seek accountability on gross and systematic human rights violations in both of those countries. What I learned in March of 2010, which is also the reason why I think maybe I've been here now for 10 years, is that in many of our countries, it's close to impossible for us to have a face-to-face dialogue with our government officials on human rights issues. It's close to impossible to be given a seat at the table to actually talk about specific violations, to talk about patterns of violations. And yet here in Geneva, somehow that space is possible. It's possible to in certain cases engage in dialogue, in other cases actually demand answers for kind of the perpetration of abuses and violations that continue with impunity. I also felt in March of 2010 that having, observed the interactive dialogue with the Special Rapporteur in Myanmar and listening to a lot of the interventions, not only by the government of Myanmar, but also a lot of the other governments in my region, in Asia, especially in the ASEAN region, the lack of interest and the lack of political will in actually responding to very credible evidence and very credible allegations of ongoing violations. And I recognized actually that there was a lot of impunity happening at the international level as well, where a lot of these governments are getting away with crimes, and that neighboring countries and also very powerful states shield them. And it seems to me to be very, very important to bear witness, to have a space in that particular room so that we can listen to what's being said, and to expose it as well, and to expose hypocrisy, to expose lies, and to expose also double messaging that happens within the region and messaging that happens at the UN level. I saw the need to try to work to support human rights defenders who are coming from Asia, to actually be able to advocate on human rights issues that concern them, with ownership, with representation, and to be able to participate in their own names and to not have to rely on international NGOs, to not have have them be their voices, but really kind of for them to be here in the flesh as well. So I think that very often we who engage in this space are sometimes bogged down by this question of how we can improve the UN. When in fact it should be the other way around. We need to think about actually how the UN needs to be working for us. The United Nations is ultimately accountable to us, the people. And I think that in this particular moment in history, it's a really interesting opportunity and a really important moment for us to rethink multilateralism and what multilateralism means. Does it continue to be a state-led initiative? Does it continue to be an intergovernmental space? Or can we really reshape it and reconfigure it so that it's an intergovernmental space that is ultimately, really, honestly accountable to the people?